VHS KvLT
presents Heavy Metal. A trip beyond the future to a universe you've never seen before. A universe of mystery. A universe of passionate fantasies. A universe of terrifying evil. A universe of magic. Heavy Metal.
Man's like that, resistance, futile, all man's the cross. Spiders turn and power, we try to shame. Capture the mountains, my path is well. You from us, pray, the new house of war. Mechanical bastards, repeat these flesh. Destroy the master, program the kill. Destroy, yeah, well, free us from full. Price by your soul. For all your leaders to die. Die! Electrify hate, the blood in their circuits will fry. The time is come for all your leaders to die. The blood of your circus is fry. Bring on the war, unleash the bastards, prisoners no more. Destroy the master, we take tonight. Destroy mankind, no every month. Who has blood by your guns?
I think that's the thing is the two derivations from punk in the United States, where it's like the West Coast, California, more anarchism, and then the East Coast, New York hardcore, which is more very regimented.
It's like more militaristic almost.
Yeah, I'm always gonna go with the West Coast, like where it's more anarchism. Is like, yeah, you do right by each other, but you get to do what you want. You know what I mean? That makes much more sense to me.
No, you got to do judo.
I mean, like some of those New York hardcore kids are like fucking tough for sure, or not kids now, grown ass men,
50-year-old men.
Yeah, they're hard.
Actually, they're probably more like 60, getting ready to retire now.
Yeah, some of them are old as
you
shit.
know what? I'll fight them.
Well, yeah, they're also like small, right? Yeah, you know what I mean, because they came from like impoverished backgrounds. I mean, that's nothing to laugh at, but like, that's the case. It's like, yeah, they're little fellas.
Nothing to laugh at that, you know. Here we are doing it.
I mean, I'm an absurdist too. Like, everything's funny to me, right? Funny in a sad way. Like, I'm so upset by it. Like, all I can do is laugh at it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's life. You get that shot or what?
That's all the people. Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, this is it. Fucking VHS KvLT special event, heavy metal. I've been drinking for 3.5 hours or so now.
Oh man, I've been going longer than that. I think I started at 4, 5. So 5.
Well, I drank a michelada at 4, and I was just chilling, whatever. Then I ate dinner. I've also been I drank a michelada, and then I ate dinner. Then I watched heavy metal while drinking whiskey and Coke, because I only went to the gas station. Like, I'm not trying to go anywhere else. So I only went to the gas station, so I got like cans and airplane shooters, right? So I had enough airplane shooters for whiskey and Coke. Yeah, I drank that while I was watching heavy metal, and then now I've just been like crushing White Claws.
like a 30-year-old white woman.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, I like try to avoid carbs as much as I can. So whatever, who knows if White Claw is actually like worthwhile. But the option was like White Claw or beer anyways, so whatever. But if I burp a lot on this podcast, it's because of the White Claws. Like, I'm like all
what flavor are they? Did you get like a variety pack, or
I got the 12 the variety 12 pack? So it's like lime, grapefruit, raspberry, and black cherry, I think.
No, okay.
It's not bad or whatever.
What's your favorite one?
Black cherry for sure.
Black cherry.
Yeah, all of them have here's the thing. You need to White Claws, they need to be ice cold. If they're not, man.
You don't want a lukewarm White Claw?
No, not at all. And they all have like this aftertaste that lingers like in your sinuses is what bothers me. It's like I can like taste it in my nose.
That's your brain.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't like that.
So I've been drinking rum and Coke since about 4.
That's like real dad stuff.
Oh, was it 3? Court is correcting me and says it's been since 3. So, wow, we're in for a treat here.
I guess, but you sound perfectly fine. I feel like I'm a mess, and you're like, yeah, whatever, you know.
That's kind of how I always have been, though.
Well, you're taller than most human beings.
That's true.
You're bigger than most human beings.
I've
we've
dropped
mentioned
a lot of weight though in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we've mentioned it on the podcast before, and like weight's a factor to it, but it's also like you're big. Like only 15% of the world, I believe, is over 6 feet. I'm over 6 feet, but you're like quite a bit over 6 feet.
Yeah, 6'4", maybe 6'5". I tell people I'm 6'4" sometimes, and then every once in a while I get some guy that's like, "No, there's no way I'm 6'4", which I think they're just like, they're 6'2", and they're just inflating.
That's like they're lying though. Yeah, because like I remember specifically there was a dude at my work that was like quite a bit shorter than me, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm like 6'3", and I was like, "No, you're not, man. I'm like 6'2" and some change." And you're like way smaller than me. Well, people are smaller than me, like as far as like size in general, but like even height wise, like he was shorter than me. And it's like, nah, you're not 6'3", man. That's bullshit. I'm 6'3" with my boots on.
6'3" with my boots on, standing on my tippy toes.
Standing on my tippy toes. All right, so this is gonna be a long episode. Probably kind of sloppy, to be honest, but like we'll get through it. We got it down. We got a lot to talk about with heavy metal and stuff. First things first, though. Ever since we did the Rock and Roll High School episode, I've been listening to Ramones, of course, right?
Mm-hmm, me too.
Fucking my anthem right now is "I Don't Want to Grow Up" by the Ramones. Have you listened to
mine
that?
is "It's Not My Place in the 9 to 5 World."
Oh, that's pretty good too. Yeah, which is similar like thesis in the song. But it's from very late in their career, like 94, 95, like one of the last albums. It might have been like Adios Amigos.
Yeah,
might have been the last album. Yeah. But no, I fucking love it. It's I don't know, like it's very juvenile, which the film we watched.
That's not the Ramones. Like all their songs are kind of juvenile, right? They're like how they're the Weezer of punk rock. Every song is about high school,
right? And well, even Weezer is kind of punk rock, right? Weezer doesn't exist without the Ramones, right?
Or and more Nirvana, I guess, more specifically. But then Nirvana doesn't exist without the Ramones. So
Nirvana's a punk band. I hate that fucking grunge shit that MTV made up.
Well, I mean, like Pearl Jam is definitely a different band than Nirvana.
Oh yeah, but Nirvana's a punk band.
Yeah,
and then there's a bunch of bands that copied Nirvana and didn't do it as well. You can call them grunge or whatever, but grunge was invented by MTV. That's like a straight up like buzzword that corporate America created for this style of band coming out of Seattle.
Said that in an interview at one point. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about. We always consider ourselves a punk band."
Nirvana is absolutely a punk band. They were from the punk scene, right? Like he's friends with Kathleen Hanna from fucking Bikini Kill, and the reason it's called Smells Like Teen Spirit is because Kathleen Hanna wrote on Kurt Cobain's wall, "Kurt smells like Teen Spirit." Like they're a punk band. They're straight up. They're from the punk scene. They're punk as fuck. There's a bunch of bands that copied them doing the but they're not punk. They're fucking interlopers. Usurpers. You call those fools grunge or whatever because they are corporate pieces of shit or whatever, but Nirvana's a punk band. That's it. Grunge isn't real. That's not a real genre of music.
Well, you can tell because it only was around for like 2 years.
Right, exactly. Yeah, punk lived forever. Punk forever.
Well, let's go that far.
There's still punk bands everywhere, man. They're still doing it. Ska's coming back.
Let's not call that one before.
Not good ska, but the Interrupters exist. They're pretty good ska bands.
I feel like I had something to talk about on this one, and I didn't write it down.
I have a few things I want to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about how society has such a low attention span that they're basically like, pandemic's over just because I don't want to deal with it anymore. I need, you know what I mean? It's basically like, I need something new in my life. Nothing's changed. We haven't fixed anything.
Well, it's just the attention span of the average American, right? So the The pandemic was fun for a week or so, and then now it's time to
Yeah,
move on.
we've exhausted all the memes, so now it's like, well, now let's do something else. It's like, well, no, we haven't fixed anything. And they're like, well, I don't care. Then Tiger King happened, and we're done. Back to work, right? It's time for something crazy to happen.
Tiger King did happen, Kyle. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's like we haven't.
I'm with you,
changed.
but
It's not fixed. I'm sorry you're done with it, but it's not done.
The absurdity of humanity.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're done, but it's not done. We don't have a vaccine yet. Like,
I was just reading like the World Health Organization's like, yeah, we're not even sure that getting the coronavirus gives you any immunities to getting it again in the future. Which, you know, I can tell you this, but that's really bad news for a vaccine.
Yeah, today's headline was where he used Tom Hanks' blood for the vaccine.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Which is interesting to me because it's specified Tom Hanks. The way it's the story is constructed is but the way the story is constructed is like, oh, wouldn't you like a little bit of that Tom Hanks magic? Blah, blah, you know, the
worship. Wouldn't you? God damn.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like weird celebrity worship culture being fed into horror, endless horror. It's like, well, cool, but it's still there. We didn't fix anything, so I'm sorry you're tired of COVID-19 memes and shit, but nothing's been fixed. So a major part of our population can just be led around by the nose, right? And these are the fools you see out there in the streets, like, open Baskin Robbins, I need ice cream. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck are you doing? I really thought it was going to go the other way, where like people would realize 90% of the industry we have is completely like fruitless.
I think that still might be the case. No. I think what's happening is the kind of like the Tea Party reaction, but
it does seem to be a small minority, hopefully. But that's the thing is, it's eventually it might get to everyone being stir crazy, right?
Right. Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that's going to manifest necessarily in
political
like protests necessarily.
Yeah.
I think you're just going to see people on like the fucking beaches or some shit.
Yeah,
and which will end up being so instead of having a very short lockdown, we have a very long lockdown.
Well, to me, it seems like we're going to have
perpetual lockdown.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of lockdown. And then now everyone go back to work, it's fine because it's hot outside. Maybe that's going to change things, right? Because that's the whole thing is, remember, like Trump and them folks talking about it was like, well, I won't be around when it's hot. It's like, what? Why would that be the case?
Well, now they're like, we'll try bleach. Drink some bleach. That's probably the answer.
The bleach thing is like, yeah, that's already stupid as fuck, right? But to me, the thing that people need to focus on is he's like, if only there was some way to inject sunlight. I think that's so much worse. Like, well, fucking for real.
Sunlight's good. Put the light inside of them.
Yeah, that's what the fuck. I don't know.
That's like some Jesus shit. You got the light inside of you.
Yeah, that's my whole thing I've been thinking about. It's like, oh, people just really.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Yeah, my concern this week has just been like, oh, people are really just like are burnt out on the memes, and that's why they're like, nah, I don't want to do it anymore. Not specifically the memes, but they got to the point where they're like, nothing new's happened in a while, so it should be fine. So, well, no, it's not going to be fine.
Well, that's the thing. We need another season of Tiger King,
I guess. But here's the replacement. A replacement for Tiger King exists. Have you been watching Last Dance?
No, I haven't. Is it good?
Hell yeah, man. We're talking the 96-97 season of the Bulls. Remember how dramatic that was?
Yeah, I remember it.
Hell yeah, you got to watch this documentary. There's only been 2 episodes so far. There'll be 2 more tomorrow.
I don't know if I have ESPN Plus. Do I have access to it? Oh, wait,
it's on Hulu. Again?
It's on Hulu? Oh,
it's on Hulu, yeah.
Well, fuck.
It's fucking good. Like, I was watching it last week when it came out, or this week when it came out, actually, because it came out on Sunday. It wasn't on Hulu right away, but I watched it like sometime this week, and I was like, I remember everything that's going on, but like it's like, is Scottie Pippen gonna come back to the Bulls? You know what I mean? Even though like I know, like, yeah, it eventually works out for winning. Yeah, but like I was like, oh, but there is like some like crazy insider knowledge to it where it's like, oh, like they're interviewing Michael Johnson, Michael Jordan, Michael Johnson. That's fucking. But yeah, and then there's my favorite part of it is they're talking to MJ about when he joined the Bulls in 84, 85, I think. And
how bad they were.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, at that time, the interviews, like at the time they were calling like the Bulls like the traveling cocaine circus, and MJ just busts out laughing. It's like, yeah, apparently they were all just like doing lines like crazy and shit, which is wild to think about as like a professional athlete, like doing lines and smoking and shit all the time. Damn.
Well, there was the baseball team too that was really famous. Was it the Tigers?
I think it's every baseball team. If you watch,
I guess that's true.
No, which is the no hitter game with oh shit, what is
Doc
it?
Ellis? Is that one?
Yeah, Doc Ellis, where he's talking about like, yeah, we used to all take go pills, right? We're taking go pills all the time, but he pitched the no hitter when he was on LSD. But he's talking about like how like drugged up and shit they were in general, taking go pills, which are, I don't know, speed, ludes, whatever, Gorilla Biscuits. And it's just like, yeah, fuck it. Apparently, professional athletes are just, doing drugs all the time, which is crazy to me. Because, like, but I guess it's not actually, because when I go to the gym and, like, hit the heavy bag, like, I can go for, like, round and round and round and, like, hit the weights for, like, an hour straight and be like, oh, I'm cool. And, like, I smoke all the time. So, like, imagine my potential if I didn't smoke.
Yeah, imagine
I could be running for miles.
You also think too, this is like before like science had really gotten into sports.
Well, that's the thing is dietary science and recovery and training science and stuff. This is all very relatively recently. It's like the last 20 years really that they've been perfecting this shit. So it is way different now. Like I couldn't like step into an MMA ring anymore, and like just.
You can step to an amateur one.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I'm big, I'm in pretty good shape, I'm strong. I know how to box. I can knock a few people out, right? But like I can't like go fight in UFC. No way. I don't have a gas tank for any of that. I have a gas tank for like one round, maybe.
I got a good round and a half in.
That's a reach for me. I'm like, I'll be dying at the end of the round, I think. That'd be like remember a few fights ago when forget his name, but like after the fight he took his shorts off.
I was like, I'm hot.
My balls is hot. Like that'd be me. Like, damn, everything's hot. What the fuck?
This body works up a lot of heat.
All right, cool. So Last Dance. No one can handle the endemic disease.
You see people out there kissing nurses in the street and shit. I don't think it's going to happen.
Sexually assaulting nurses in the street, you mean? You don't think that'll happen? You don't think like, we got the vaccine now, everyone fucking go wild.
Nah.
It's like heavy metal 1981.
Which vignette?
None of them. None of them really have orgies in it, so.
Well, and they all have a vague sexual innuendos.
Well.
Some are outrights.
Let's talk about it. 1981. A glowing green orb, which embodies ultimate evil, the Lochnar. It terrorizes a young girl with an anthology of bizarre and fantastic stories of dark fantasy, eroticism, and horror.
No, yeah, I guess some horror.
Columbia Pictures takes you beyond the future to a universe you've never seen before.
I think you're going a little high, man.
It's okay, man. If there's one thing I know, it's how to drive when I'm stoned. It's like you know your perspective's fucked, so you just gotta let your hands work the controls as if you're straight.
A universe of mystery.
Okay, sucker.
Hand over your cash now.
A universe of sexual fantasies. My whips.
Harry? Can I sleep with you?
That was incredible. I've never felt anything like it.
A universe of magic. Heavy metal. A step beyond science fiction.
The B-17 one's horror, I guess.
Which one's the B-17?
The bomber one.
Oh,
The
yeah,
World
I guess
War,
that's true. It's kind of short, though, so you can't... It's like, you're in it and out.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but that's my favorite part of it, I think. And apparently there's a specific reason why it is that I didn't realize until recently when I went over the details of the film, but it might make sense. Anyways, the film is an anthology of various science fiction and fantasy stories adapted from Heavy Metal magazine, and original stories in the same spirit. Like the magazine, the film features a great deal of graphic violence, sexuality, and nudity. Its production was expedited by having several animation houses working simultaneously on different segments. The Rooster... I was going to say the Rooster Teeth critics consensus, but no, that's some bullshit like nerd shit on the internet. The Rotten Tomatoes critics consensus is as follows. It's sexist, juvenile, and dated, but Heavy Metal makes up for its flaws with eye-popping animation and a classic, smartly used soundtrack. What do you think about that?
Mostly agree.
Yeah, it's a soft agree for me as well. It's like, well.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm at a 4 there. You know that shit you have to do like when you work at some corporate office, and it's like, on a scale of 1 to 5, when you're saying that the company listens to your feedback, 1 does not agree at all, and then 5,
yeah, you got to do the annual.
Strongly agree.
Yeah.
That's how I'm thinking of it. I'm at a 4. Mostly agree.
4 for me as well. Yeah. Let's run down the list of directors. It's pretty substantial, obviously, because there's different vignettes. So Gerald Potterton is kind of the main guy. He's best known for directing the cult classic Heavy Metal and his animation work on Yellow Submarine.
We all live in a yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. A yellow submarine.
Then we also have John Bruno, who did Soft Landing. John Hollis, So Beautiful and So Dangerous. Julian Harris, Captain Stern. Jimmy T. Murakami, Soft Landing. Barry Nelson, B-17. Paul Sabella, Captain Stern. Jack Stokes, Den. Pino von Lamsuerde, Harry Canyon. Calls you Lamsuerde, which means you steal lambs. And Harold Whitaker for Grimaldi. So technically there's directors for each segment, but they were overseen by our head fella here, Gerald Potterton. Holy shit.
You gotta say it right. What's going on, man?
Gerald Potterton. For some reason I thought his name was because I have an exclamation point there. I thought his name was Rotatini. It was like, oh yeah, he's Italian, man. I forget Italians don't make movies. That's like one of my favorite music labels is called Italians Do It Better. And it's all basically Johnny Jewel. So it's like Chromatics, Desire, Glass Candy and shit. And so yeah, Italians do it better. As far as writers go, which is seemingly more important to this film, You have the overall writers plus the specific segments, Harry Canyon and Taharna, which is Daniel Goldberg and Len Blum. Daniel Goldberg is also the writer of Meatballs, Stripes, and he produced Space Jam.
Space Jam. Wow,
Yeah.
we're talking about Michael Jordan.
No,
Did they mention Space Jam in The Last Dance?
no, not yet.
Oh, we might get to it.
It might come up. 95 is Space Jam.
Right, but isn't this the last season, the 90?
Yeah, 96, 97.
Yeah.
Len Blum, who was also the overall director, screenwriter. He did the same stuff. Him and Goldberg are writing buddies, so he also did Meatballs and Stripes and some other shit. But Len Blum also responsible for Pink Panther.
The movie?
Yeah, he did it all on his own.
Oh.
Sole writing credit, Pink Panther. Len Blum.
Well, I mean, like then the Peter Sellers up there being a dick.
All right, anyhow, we'll get back to basketball probably.
For 45 minutes, and we need to tighten this up.
Oh, it's gonna be a 3-hour episode. Oh shit! All right, we also got Dan O'Bannon, which is of course one of my favorite writers because he wrote Alien, he wrote and directed Return of the Living Dead, and he wrote Life Force. Segments.
But let's not give him Life Force.
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, which is like one of the worst things you can say about a movie.
It's okay. He did Soft Landing in B-17, and B-17 is my favorite segment. And apparently, it's just because I just really love Dan O'Bannon's work. I didn't realize until now he had done that segment until doing research for this episode. But, I mean, I guess he's just the best when it comes to zombies.
Not great at space vampires, though.
Yeah. Next up, we got Richard Corbin, who directed the segment Den. He hasn't done much else but this segment. That's because he's mostly a comic book guy. He's actually quite deeply associated with heavy metal.
The comic book.
Correct. Or magazine, as it's referred to on the internet, which is, no, but I mean, it's like a comics magazine. I guess what magazine means, whatever. And then we got Bernie Wrightson, who is also a horror comics guy, and the creator of Swamp Thing.
The creator of Swamp Thing?
Correct. He created Swamp Thing.
He didn't really revolutionize Swamp Thing.
But, oh, you mean Alan Moore?
Yeah.
Who would win in a fight? This guy or Alan Moore? He's like 6'4" and a crazy person. He did the segment Captain Stern. He was also a lot of history with heavy metal.
He did the segment Zap Brannigan, you mean? You can see some influences in heavy metal. My first experience with heavy metal as a child, just seeing it as the cover at the like VHS
video store,
rental store, waiting and being intrigued and confused by it.
Well, yeah, you just look at it and you're like, wow, what does that mean? Because you have like some passing awareness of what heavy metal music is. And then it's just like a woman on like a dragon, and you're like, whoa, what? What could this be?
I like dragons.
Next up, we got Angus McKee, maybe. Well, I'll say McKay just because it's based on of what other people pronounce it as normally.
Boring. Say how you want to say it.
Okay, Angus McKee. He did So Beautiful, So Dangerous. He's a comic artist who also worked heavily with the heavy metal magazine. He's done plenty of sci-fi covers for novels, etc., etc. Pretty interesting guy.
So no one cares about any of these writers. The real question is, how many voices did John Candy do?
Oh, as many as he could, apparently. Real quick, as an addendum to the writers, fantasy illustrator Chris Achilleos designed and painted the iconic promotional poster image, commissioned in 1980. that features the central character Tarna on her bird-like steed. That artwork continues to be used for home video releases. He also did conceptual design work for the Tarna character.
He was, of course, never paid.
Probably not as well as he needed to be paid. And aside from the soundtrack, the score, which is the more digestible internal music of a film, it was done by Elmer Bernstein, and apparently he was doing the score for this and the American Werewolf in London at the same time. So John Landis, you get to bring John Landis in this episode. Remember when he killed those people
with that helicopter?
Yeah. So another John Landis connection. He had his fingers in a lot of pies back then. This film is, of course,
hands on a lot of helicopters back then.
Well, you just had that one helicopter. It was just the one.
I feel like it was probably enough. One was enough for old Landis.
It's kind of all he needed to make his mark in history. This film was produced by Ivan Reitman and Leonard Mogul, who was also the publisher of Heavy Metal.
You know it's produced by Ivan Reitman because Harold Ramis does like 15 voices too.
Well, that leads into my next fact, is that actors John Candy, Joe Flaherty, Eugene Levy, and Harold Ramis all starred on the ensemble comedy series SCTV.
Oh man, Conan's favorite skit comedy show.
Yeah, they all knew each other from
Rick Moranis.
Yeah, they all knew each other from back in the day doing that. Ivan Reitman, that's how Ivan Reitman got introduced to Bill Murray and made Ghostbusters and blah, blah, blah. And Canadian shit. You know, all Canadians know each other, it seems like, when it comes to comedy, right?
Oh, yeah.
As far as Leonard Mogul goes, like I said, he is the publisher of Heavy Metal Magazine. We'll go into Heavy Metal Magazine real quick. Heavy Metal is an American science fiction and fantasy comics magazine published beginning in 1977. Magazine is known primarily for its blend of dark fantasy and science fiction and erotica, and more recently, steampunk comics.
They're still going?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Kevin Eastman runs the publishing now. The big thing about Heavy Metal is you have to understand the English comic scene, kind of, the UK comic scene. Where
and Grant Morrison's the editor-in-chief. Sorry, I looked it up.
Sure. But to understand Heavy Metal, you have to understand the English comic scene. Even though this is American published, it's following a more UK European model. Or they have AD 2020 or whatever. You know, they use how comic publishing worked in Europe is they'd be in monthly anthologies. They would be magazines that have
like
continuing stories, right? And the same thing in Japan, right? Like Shonen Jump is a good example of how manga operates in Japan, where it's monthly series of like 15 pages, 20 panels or whatever. The reason why it was emulating a more European model rather than American publishing Spider-Man shit is it started out as a licensed translation of a French science fantasy magazine called Metal Hurlant, which means howling metal.
Oh.
And then Heavy Metal gradually evolved into its own. Les Enfants Terribles. It gradually evolved into North American contributors. And in the 1970s, Leonard Mogul, how he picked it up is in the 1970s, he was working for National Lampoon. And he was over there checking shit out, and he just picked it up. And
that was a magazine too. Is this still a magazine? No, I gotta stop that.
Right? I don't think it exists anymore. But yeah, he was over there promoting National Lampoon magazine, and it didn't work out that well. But he was able to pick up the licensing for. And speaking of
how
Kevin Eastman of Ninja Turtles fame, he says
chief at one point, right?
He says Heavy Metal published European art which had not been previously seen in the United States, as well as demonstrating an underground comic sensibility that nonetheless wasn't as harsh or extreme as some of the underground comics, but definitely intended for an older readership. So the idea is it's not like French Extreme or anything, but it is like Ninja Turtles started out as a comic where, well, it's got ultra violence in it, you know? But, you know, you can still turn it into a cartoon, which they did.
I mean, if you read the first like few Ninja Turtle, like I guess the original 4-issue miniseries, and compare it to the first cartoon, they're not very similar.
No, Ninja Turtles is violent as fuck when it first started, and that's why we got to turn these ninjas into robots.
That way, Leonardo can still use his swords.
Right,
By the way, by season 2, we can't have Michelangelo using nunchucks anymore. Kids might hit people.
Yeah, so
he's going to be a rope guy now.
He's doing kicks and stuff. Kicks. Heavy Metal's high quality artwork is notable. Work by international fine artists such as H.R. Geiger and Esteban Maroto have been featured on the covers of various issues. Terence Lindahl's illustrated version of Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost appeared in the magazine in 1980. So as much as heavy metal is relegated to juvenility and comic bullshit, right? You know, no one takes it seriously. There's quite a bit more going on with heavy metal than just we got titties, right? Come check out the titties. Of course,
you don't want titties though. I don't know if you noticed.
That was in there though. You know, you got to get people to pick up the magazine, right?
I was offered a job very similar to this kind of to write these kind of stories.
Sure. The movie is made of 8 segments. The Grimaldi segment is the link device that ties all the movie segments together. The Lochnar features in some way in the 6 stories that follow. It narrates
sort of.
I mean, it very loosely. It's in there, right? Sometimes it's just like, and then it didn't matter I was there, but I was also very powerful.
Ooh, big brain, I'm here. Big brain do evil.
Yeah, I'm green. All right, first thing you got, soft landing. Title sequence story opens with a space shuttle orbiting the Earth. The bay doors open, releasing a Corvette. Wow! And there's an astronaut in the car, and he's descending to Earth.
He's fucking rocking out.
Yeah, it's like wow, wow, willa, 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 willa. Apparently, Elon Musk is a huge fan of this movie.
We're all shocked.
Yeah, and so is Tesla with Starman at the wheel, which was launched with the Falcon Heavy launch 2018. It is near identical to the Corvette with the astronaut aboard. So he recreated this segment with his fucking apartheid gem mine money from his dad. It kind of makes me hate heavy metal because
it's not heavy metal's fault. You can't be.
I'm mad that
responsible for what it inspires.
I don't know. I'm mad that Elon Musk likes it too. It makes sense. So I'm sure Elon Musk likes it because of the juvenility.
Well, it's just
bullshit.
Like Paul Ryan likes Rage Against the Machine, right? No one actually really internalizes their art or media. At least, well, most people don't.
Yeah, they really should. They should really stop and consider it.
I try not to think about anything anymore.
Last thing is I don't
focus.
internalize the front-facing elements of heavy metal at all because the front, like what heavy metal is really.
Oh, I do, and it's really fucking odd.
Well, no, what heavy metal is perpetuating is like juvenile sexuality and blah blah blah. What I like about heavy metal is the character and the broadness and the. I like the idea of pushing the limits of what is acceptable at the time. I don't like how they did it, I guess. But I'm sure Elon Musk was just like titties in space.
Space nipples.
Space titties.
I thought life force in there with a vagina.
Yeah, so that's all you gotta say about soft landing. I actually like it. I think it's a great way to open a movie. It's like you know what you're in for. It's gonna be like a music video.
Yeah, no.
You hope it's
honestly,
gonna be like a music video. It's not though.
Yeah, there's a couple ones I don't really like in here. We guess we go talk about again. So this one, the framing narrative, I have no problem with at all.
Oh no, it's cool. Yeah, it's just like, all right, fucking cool car and astronauts in it. Here's some hard rock music. We're gonna have fun, right? It makes sense. But then we lead into Grimaldi, as it's called. This is the framing narrative. The astronaut Grimaldi arrives at home, where he is greeted by his daughter. He says he has something to show her. When he opens his case, a green crystalline sphere rises out and melts him. It introduces itself to the terrified girl as the sum of all evils. This is the Loch-Nar. And he's like, check it out. Here's how I influence society and people throughout time and space.
I'm gonna drive you fucking crazy. Yeah, actually, these again,
gonna drive you into.
I have no problem with at all.
Yeah, you're gonna drive you into rebellion. It's fine. Like, yeah, it's all lead up to whatever. Till we get to the first story, Harry Canyon. This is an original story by Goldberg and Blum. It's inspired by Mobius's The Long Tomorrow story. And real quick, we gotta get out of the way. Mobius is Jean Giraud. He is esteemed by Federico Fellini, Stan Lee, and Hayao Miyazaki, among others. He has been described as the most influential bande dessinée artist after Hergé. So bande dessinée is literally means banded design, but it's the French word for comic. And obviously, Hergé he did Tintin, so everyone loves Hergé.
I'm not familiar with Hergé or Tintin.
You don't know Tintin?
No, what's a Tintin?
Not Rin Tintin. But
no, I know Rin Tintin.
You remember when Steven Spielberg made Tintin?
I'm just being a dick.
Yeah, I know. But so Mobius Jean Giraud is a very, very successful comic artist. Everyone loves him. He has a very close relationship with heavy metal. His stories always had another level of intrigue to him. Usually they're environmentally focused, politically focused, and blah, blah, blah. A lot of that's not
for. Didn't he work for Marvel at one point? Or am I thinking of Gerard?
I don't know. It'd be interesting if he did. That said, a lot of his work not going to come through in the heavy metal movie. So we got Harry Canyon. This is dystopian New York City, 2031. Harry Canyon is a cynical taxi cab driver. He does the Fillmore style grumbling, occasional robbery attempts.
You can really tell the guys that are good at voice acting, the guys that aren't. John Candy, good.
John Candy's fine, yeah.
Harry Canyon, not good.
Yeah, and then I went and did this, and then
come on, put some fucking style into it.
It'd be interesting if he was a PI, but instead he's a taxi driver in the far-flung future. It's just not very good, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just his voice acting.
You're saying the voice acting is going to be a problem throughout the whole movie, and the pacing is going to be a problem. Because everything is like, this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and that happens.
It's like watching Street Sharks.
It is a little bit, right? The big thing to note about this, though, is the robot that sells Harry Canyon the hot dog is Robbie the robot. You familiar with Robbie?
I'm familiar with Robbie the robot. Is it really Robbie the robot? I didn't know.
Yeah, it's just, the animated version, yeah. So Robbie is the brainchild of industrial designer and engineer Robert Kinoshita, built in 1955 for MGM prop department. Apparently, it costs $125,000 to build Robbie, which is weird because he just seems like he's made out of like vacuum tubes and shit. He was created.
What's that in today's money? Like 500,000?
That's a lot. He straight up looks like he's made of vacuum tubes and shit. I don't get it.
I gotta pull a picture of Robbie the robot.
He was created for Forbidden Planet and then the follow-up, The Invisible Boy. And Robbie the Robot has become one of the most popular robot icons in the history of movies and media. I don't know about that anymore. Obviously, people our age who are
Probably
into
still
like
remember it,
nerdy shit like Robbie the Robot. I don't know if like the next generation coming up that are like going to fucking 100 Gex concerts in Minecraft. I don't know if they know who Robbie the Robot is.
I can 100% guarantee you my kids have no idea who Robbie the Robot is.
There you go.
They know who Rob the Robot is from Nintendo.
Yeah, from Smash Brothers.
Right. I've explained to them what he was, and Ryan's like, they had a robot that played second player for you? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, sort of.
Kind of. He's a robotic operating buddy, you know, if you didn't have siblings. Yeah, nothing much to say about Harry Canyon, except for there's a part where he first sleeps with the female protagonist, and he's like, "Oh, she must have been real hot for me." Well, it's like, motherfucker, you're like a fat, overweight, balding taxi cab driver, and for a second you were convinced she was interested in you. And he's like, "Oh, I can't believe she double crossed me." It's like, fucking, she's not interested in you, you dummy. But in the world of heavy metal, it makes sense because it is a juvenile masculine power fantasy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
And
maybe
you're
except
gonna-
for the very last story, but even then, I don't know, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, well, the last story is made by Mobius, so it's kind of a little bit different. The juvenile power fantasy come to full execution is made apparent in the next segment, which is Den. John Candy, as a nerdy teenage boy, finds a green meteorite.
Yeah, he finds a wardrobe and he walks into it.
Nice green meteorite near his house, puts in his
Whatever,
rock collection. During a lightning experiment, the orb hurls the boy into the world of Neverwhere, where he transforms into a naked, bald-headed, muscular man called Den, an acronym for his Earth name, David Ellis Norman.
Oh, crazy.
And he's immediately like, "Oh, I'll save that babe. No, I'll bang that babe. Oh, no, I'm interrupted. Gotta save that babe so I can
Oh, man, no, bang that.
now
bitch,
bang
babe.
this other babe." Oh, God. The only thing I like about this one, it's the same thing I like about all of them. I like the heavy lines. I like the bright and bold colors. I like the experimental, like, color changes for backgrounds. You know, I like the art of the movie. But what I specifically like about this movie, or this vignette rather, is at the end when the Lochnar like falls to their feet, and he's like, "Fuck that shit, let's fly off and bang." And it's like, yeah, that makes sense to me.
This one it really is hard to find like a
Any redeemable quality.
Yeah.
This one is absolutely the most like, hey, you're a nerd in real life. Could you imagine if you go to special dimension where you be
Bang
a
chicks with
sexy
huge
bang?
tits.
Yeah, you bang them all. You just bang them.
like a crazy witch queen is gonna capture you, but she's gonna like, look at that sexy man. Maybe I'll bang him, and then you're gonna bang her so good that she's like, you know what? Maybe you'll be my king.
Yeah, but then she's angry that you distracted me with your banging. All the
Your
double
banging
cross
is
was
so
taken
good.
on. Yeah, it's terrible.
The rough one.
So in the magazine of heavy metal, the evil emanation Den Browse called Olutk, but it's Cthulhu spelled backwards. Olutk.
Yeah, I don't want to get him. I'm not gonna get mad at him because this is
They did their best, yeah. And also in the original storyline, Catherine is an 80-year-old woman on Earth,
Oh, that's a great.
but
twist.
she's just banging on.
like a 18-year-old kid.
She's at her prime on this universe, banging. She you notice her areolas changed shape quite a bit in her segment. Color changes, shape changes, wonderful.
Their flowers, their hearts, their circles.
Yeah, it's like
Their
while I was
parallel
watching
lines.
it, I was like, is there a reason why they're changing into different recognizable shapes. And I was like, oh no, I think it's just animation inconsistency.
I think the guys are just bored.
Yeah. What do you got about that? I don't particularly like that one. Like I said, it's
I'm not. 1 out of 5.
This is all the criticism about heavy metal where it's just juvenile like power fantasy and shit. It's this one. This one is the embodiment of that shit. Followed up, we got Captain Stern. Square-jawed space pirate is on trial for numerous serious charges, and his only character witness can save him. This is Zap Brannigan, which is Shatner. If Shatner was the captain of the Enterprise instead of
Captain Kirk. If Captain Kirk wasn't actually a good dude at heart.
Yeah. Right, it'd be Shatner, right? Shatner's a wild dude. So it's as if Shatner. What's interesting to me about this one is that it is a kind of precursor to Zap Brannigan.
Right,
It's
like 100% you can feel it.
It's like, yeah, you would be a piece of shit, huh?
I find the most sexy part of the woman to be the boobies.
And then that's kind of where it ends, though. Right? Like, the writing's not good enough to carry it to a meaningful end.
Like, it just kind of is like, it starts in a good place, and then it goes nowhere.
Yeah, which I could very confidently say that's most of the heavy metal movie. It's like, oh, interesting concept. Oh, it doesn't go anywhere? Interesting. So it turns out he's got a character witness who can turn into a muscle-bound freak, Jekyll and Hyde situation, and he betrays him and blah blah. It doesn't matter, he's still just a piece of shit captain, I guess. No morality to it.
He pays him off, the guy shrinks and he jettisons into space. End of story.
Simplest shit you could do is just a small little morality tale. Like, nah, no thanks. Small floating egg-shaped one-eyed robot in the Captain Stern segment is named Beezer, right? You saw his little friend floating around, right?
Uh-huh.
Originally, he had 4 arms and was larger. You think there's a little bit of Booster Gold in the character?
I was going to make that connection, too.
Yeah, because it's Skeets. Yeah. Kind of. Well, that's something. Booster Gold's a little bit of like a cocksure piece of shit, right? But I don't think he's a rapist.
Yeah, he's more like...
He makes mistakes and
just wants people to like him too much.
But I guess that's like Booster Gold's a little bit of Captain Kirk or William Shatner as Captain Kirk, kind of, right?
As William Shatner, yeah.
And so there's like a through vein for all these characters. The original story of the magazine, though, Hanover Fist, which is the guy that turns into Dr. or Mr. Hyde, he actually lives at the end of the story. So the story as seen in the film has Fist finding the Loch-Nar and dying at the story's ending. These changes were made for the movie to facilitate the connecting thread of the Loch-Nar in this film. Which still is like, whatever.
Dumb.
Yeah. What would have followed up next, though, is the segment called Neverwhere Land, which did not actually get animated or put in the film because of time constraints. It would have connected Captain Stern to B-17, and it would have followed the influence of the Loch-Nar upon the evolution of a planet, from the Loch-Nar landing in a body of water, influencing the rise of the Industrial Age and a World War. So instead, we get the familiar setting World War II. Had that segment been in there, it would have just been a pastiche of World War II anyways, so what's the fucking difference? I do really like the B-17 segment, which is what comes up next. What I like about it is it's basically just like if Iron Maiden had the money to do an animated music video in 1986, it would have been this. That's what I like about it. B-17, the remaining crew of a damaged World War II B-17 bomber must survive the machinations of the Loch-Nar. And that's it. they get all shot up and shit, and then Lochnar comes out of nowhere. I really would have wished that, when the other pilot's on the radio and he's like, oh, there's something following us. And he's like, oh, what is it? I really wish he would have said, oh, it looks like a Foo Fighter.
Why?
Well, because the Foo Fighters are named after a phenomena that existed during World War II, where they would see UFOs of some kind following them. They were called Foo Fighters. That's why the Foo Fighters are called Foo Fighters. So within the context of the story, the Lochnar would have been a Foo Fighter. And it would have been like common vernacular knowledge at the time to call it a Foo Fighter. So I thought that would have been cool.
You should have wrote that sequence, obviously.
Yeah, but it's Dan O'Bannon, so I mean, good enough. That's my homie. He's apparently a creep and a weirdo, but Return of the Living Dead, no problem. He's absolved of all sins, as far as I'm concerned. He did Return of the Living Dead.
The best part of the B-17 one is it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's short, it's sweet.
Absolutely, it's like fucking 5 minutes. That's all you need. Oh shit, skeletons. My thing though is when the skeletons get to like the flight cabin, and he like parachutes out. Where did he parachute out from? Is there like a hatch that you can drop out of in the flight cabin, or what?
So below the flight cabin, isn't that like the bombardier area, right? In the B-17s?
I don't know. I guess I don't know about them.
Yeah, those things are fucking huge too. Not as big as like the
Flying Fortress ones.
The Flying Fortress. Yeah. But the B-17s are pretty big.
Well, they do a really good job of illustrating it, where he's walking like down the B-17 and
he's like checking the ball gunner and the tail gunner. Yeah,
the B-17 is good just because like it's good. Like this could be its whole movie. B-17. There's so many elements in there. Like
if you just stretch out a couple different pieces, you definitely can stretch it out into 45 minutes. That's for sure.
No, I just it has the most like context and detail and texture to it. It's better than anything else in
it. Dan O'Bannon, no zombies and nothing else.
Alien. He also knows rapist aliens. So they use quite a bit of rotoscoping in this movie, and this segment benefits heavily from it. The B-17 bomber was a 10-foot replica matte work, right, with the bomber, and then they animated over it.
Yeah.
So
tracing? I don't know. Yeah, I know.
Well, it's rotoscoping. It's rotoscoping, but they did model work with the B-17 animated over it. So that's cool.
I mean, rotoscoping is tracing, right?
Pretty much. But I mean, you can't hold that much against it because that's what Disney did for 50 years.
It looks great. I'm not saying it
doesn't. No, I really love rotoscoping. We're about to get to it in a second when you get to
I feel like what's the last sequence does it really well. Tarna?
Yeah, Tarna is the best sequence. We'll get to it momentarily. In between this little break called So Beautiful and So Dangerous.
Oh, yeah. This garbage sequence.
A voluptuous secretary is accidentally transported aboard a spaceship when his crew retrieves its malfunctioning android. Android's John Candy. He's having fun. Everything else about it is useless. Why is this in the movie?
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Like nothing. I don't even know if the Lochnar is in it or anything.
Wait, no, it definitely is. What is it? She's has it on her neck, right? It's for some reason, and that's the reason the android dude jumps her.
The only thing I like about it is when the robot John Candy finally convinces her to marry him, and she's like, "Well, we have to have a Jewish wedding," and he's like, "Jewish wedding," and his like sirens like pop up.
Are you circumcised?
Yeah, that's the only thing I like about it. Otherwise, it's like, why is this in there? Harold Ramis is in it, that segment too, so it's cool that Harold Ramis shows up. Whatever, I don't know. Fucking Eugene Levy is Captain Stern. Eugene Levy is a rapist.
He's just playing one. You're getting reality and fiction confused again.
It happens. All right, final segment. Tarna.
This is the entire reason to see this movie.
I was thinking when I was watching is most anthology movies have like their one cornerstone segment, right?
Yeah, like the Ballad of Buster Scruggs is Buster Scruggs.
Right. Well, no, no, I mean, so the Buster Scruggs is the titular part of it, right? That leads you into the story, but they have like one cornerstone segment that is like, this is what you're here for. This is where they really put in like the most artistry to it. Battle of the Buster Scruggs is like kind of a hard,
that's a different
because like
example. 'Cause,
like
there's also-
everything they do in Buster Scruggs is like, this is a pretty good segment, right? But if you look at like the Creepshow movies or Body Bags or the VHS series,
or the Tales from the Crypt movies.
right? Yeah, there's always one longer story, larger story. They put more of the budget into it. They know this is going to be the one, right? That's Tarna. It's an original story by Daniel Goldberg and Len Blum. It's inspired by Mobius's Arzak stories. So right now you're incorporating the two writers and directors who are responsible for this movie really getting made, and the artists that really put heavy metal on the map. So this is it. This is the whole reason you watch the movie, is to see this shit, right? Seemingly. What's it about?
I don't disagree.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the best part of the movie, absolutely. Everything else is like, yeah, that's kind of cute, I guess. This is the Lochnar corrupts a tribe of human outcasts, turning them into vicious marauders that will overwhelm the world with cold, murderous violence. The last scion of a warrior race seeking to avenge the death of people she was sworn to protect is the only being that can stop them. That's Tarna, the Tarkarian.
It's like hey, you know, if Conan had tits.
Well, that's the thing, is everything about heavy metal relies so much on pulp trash, like storytelling, right? And a lot of them are just like juvenile, fucking blowing off some steam. I'd masturbate to this cartoon kind of bullshit, right? There's a little bit more going on with this one.
The only complaint I really have with it is I feel like they over sexualize her a little bit.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it, maybe.
Yeah, quite a bit. And I'm just going to say, that's Frenchman for you. Because, this is Mobius, yeah. This is Jean Giraud. She's also rotoscoped Tarna using a Toronto model, Carrel Desbiens, which sounds like lesbians. Oh no. She's French Canadian. Little thing here. When the barbarians are overrunning the city of Kron, there's a structure where the council chamber is located, and it resembles the helmets worn by the two men on the cover of Black Sabbath's album, Never Say Die. Now, this is the segment that has Black Sabbath in it, so it's
makes
interesting coincidence, or no, they did it on purpose. And then, the Tarna storyline was illustrated by the acclaimed artist Mobius Jean Giraud. His concerns about the environment led to the backgrounds having a great deal of randomly placed water pipes. So if you check out the backgrounds in this segment, there is clearly sort of the decay of society caused by environmental issues in some way. Which is, great, we can laud him for that, we'll clap for that, right? You know, climate change is a problem, but he possibly didn't respect women very well.
I don't know what would make you think of that.
Everything about this movie and the heavy metal comics I've read, and, yeah. There's something where it's like very like cute, like French about it, you know what I mean?
Sort of.
Where it's like, oh, maybe it's just the uptight Americanism, but part of it's just like, well, no, this specifically is like, no, there's sexual assault in it. That's bad. I just mean his larger work where a lot of it is just like, he's being cute, you know? And French people are a little bit different. But, anyways, he's a groundbreaking artist. Tintin's good. He's not responsible for that. I'm just talking about the bande dessinée.
I'm talking about the French in general.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So Tintin's interesting. Tintin's got some really outdated shit in it too.
Well, I mean, so does Dragon Ball if you go back and
Right. Well, Mr. Popo.
I don't even need to talk about that, but like fucking Bulma as like a 16-year-old girl and shit.
Oh yeah. Well, her name's Bloomers, right?
Yeah.
Panties. And Chi-Chi is boobs. I don't know, there's some cute horny shit. Ecchi as they call it in Japan. In Dragon Ball Z. That's the thing is, for me, it's like I think people need to be able to reasonably express their sexuality in a more open way, because I feel like the United States still really suffers from.
Yeah, but I feel like the problem is that the only people that really ever get to express their sexuality are like straight white men.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. Not today. Anyways, what do you think of Tarna? Tarna's obviously the best. This is the segment that they made the whole movie for, honestly.
They could just made one movie called Tarna. I would have watched it.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the sequel real quick in a second.
I don't want to.
All right, epilogue. Final story ends. Lochnar, which was terrorizing the girl, explodes, destroying the mansion in the process. Tarna's reborn mount appears outside, and the girl happily flies away on it. It is then revealed that Tarna's soul has been reincarnated in the girl. The girl's hair color changes to white, and we see a Tarkarian mark on her neck. So, turns out, Lochnar couldn't win. This little girl is Tarna. She's going to fuck it up again. So
Time is an illusion.
It sure
so
is.
Everything makes sense.
The man in the back said everyone attack, and they turned into a ballroom blitz. Ballroom blitz. Exploding House was originally supposed to be rotoscoped, but the release date had been moved up, and the lack of time prevented this. Yeah, so that's actually the only non-animated sequence in the film is they just blow up a model.
And it's not a very good model work.
Gene Siskel gave this film 3 stars, writing that it isn't intended for close scrutiny on a literal level. The film clearly is intended as a trip, and on that level it works very nicely. He criticized the film as blatantly sexist and for having a wildly romanticized violence.
All right, yeah, fair assessment.
Yeah, very fair assessment.
Ebert?
Nothing on Ebert, but film historian and critic Leonard Maltin.
Oh man, here we go.
He gave the film 3 stars out of 4.
Yeah, he never saw a movie he didn't like. So
I know, right? Isn't that weird? He called the feature uneven but great fun on a mindless adolescent level.
Yeah, review for every terrible movie.
Yeah, it's not good, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's a movie. I'd watch it.
Here's the real stinging, like sharp, meaningful criticism. I think it's Sheila Benson of the Los Angeles Times. She wrote, "Somehow a great deal of the charm of the magazine leaked out on the way to the movie house, but all the sadism stayed put, and then some. It's the most expensive adolescent fantasy revenge film fulfillment wet dream ever to slither onto a screen."
You know, for at least 4 of the 6 segments, she's right.
She's absolutely right. I love it despite it. But I'm loving it because of the pulpy, terrible aspect of it. I think there's nothing redeemable in this film. I would not perpetuate it onto anyone else. I don't think there's anything like you can clap about. There's no philosophy in this film that you would want to share with anyone else. Blah, blah, any of that. I love it specifically because it is just a microcosm of trash from the 1980s, right? That's what I like about it. But I don't think there's anything really redeemably about the film. So I absolutely agree with Sheila Benson. There's a certain aspect of people that I would love to show this film to, where it's just like, here, check out this like trash film, right? Because I'm able to enjoy things that are trash to a certain extent. I think that's interesting, where it's just like, here, look at the most juvenile trash, like cast off that the 80s was able to produce. But I love the.
I don't know. To be fair, it definitely wasn't heavy metal.
Oh no, it's not. But heavy metal is up there, I think. Where I do, and the big thing that I legitimately like about it, not ironically or confrontationally about the film, I do like the art style, and I do like the heavy lines, the bold colors, the brash like. A lot of it is corner cutting. It's a lot of it is budget cutting choices, but like making like Den riding a horse on the horizon, all purple with swirling. You know what I mean? There's a lot of this budget cutting, but there's some visual taste to this film. There's a lot going on visually where it is. It's brash and bold. It has character. It has personality. It looks like a comic book. I don't think there's anything you take away from that. The content of it, however, is just, hey, you want to see trash? Here's trash. What do you think?
I don't know that I can disagree with any single thing you just said.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, again, there's like maybe two or three. Like the framing error is fine. There's one or two other vignettes that are okay. The Tarna, obviously, the best one out of it. And then a lot of just garbage in between.
Yeah, no, I'm not turning anyone off of watching this movie. I think it's if you listen to this podcast,
you should be okay with this movie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's better than Life Force.
Yeah, it's not a terrible movie. It's not the most like hateful evil movie or anything. It's just it's not particularly good. Aside from
we watched Deathstalker, guys, it's better than Deathstalker.
It's better than Deathstalker. The animation is very particular and interesting, very of the 80s, and I think that's one reason to watch it is to check out how animation evolves. And we'll go into that right now, real quick, because we're going to talk about Heavy Metal 2000 and then David Fincher's little follow-up reboot, possibly. There is a sequel to this movie. It's called Heavy Metal 2000. Outside North America, it's called Heavy Metal FAK, F-A-K-K.
What? Why?
I don't know. I watched the sequel. I have no idea why it's called that. They mentioned in the movie that FAK is like uninhabited, lifeless planets, but it doesn't go into why the movie's called that.
Cool.
Yep.
Makes perfect sense. Got it.
They're basically riding real hard on the heels of the final segment of Tarn, making that into one single solitary story. Let's check it out. It's got stories based on the graphic novel The Melting Pot, written by Kevin Eastman, which is show's fame. Simon Bisley and Eric Talbot. Eric Talbot, I believe, has worked for Marvel and DC in some capacity. Definitely recognize the name. It is
Eastman, right? Oh no, Eastman's a Turtles guy.
Yeah, Kevin Eastman's famous. Eric Talbot.
Yeah, I think he worked for Marvel.
And film was made by Cine Group, a animation studio based in Montreal, Quebec. So they're Quebecois.
Quebecois?
Yep. Heavy Metal 2000 panned by critics. The original Heavy Metal didn't do that great, but it still got like 70-some% Rotten Tomatoes based on contemporary reviews. So, still a reasonable movie. Heavy Metal 2000's got about 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. I actually watched Heavy Metal 2000 this week as well. I will say that it has the animation of a cheap Warner Brothers 90s production. So like imagine they make a Batman animated series straight to video movie, but instead of being Mask of the Phantasm, it's Mask of the Phantasm with like 1/100th of the budget.
I was gonna say Mask of the Phantasm is fucking awesome. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you know, like in the 90s, Western animation became really simplified.
Yeah, you were talking about like when they towards the end of the Batman Superman shit, like when they did like Batman versus Batwoman or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that, where every character is indistinct, so bland. The animation has no character, no personality, blandest shit you've ever seen. And then story, makes no sense. Who cares? There's just opportunities for the main character and her sister to get their titties out, I guess. Terrible. I hate it. Fucking cannot stand the sequel. Sequel did, however, have a video game tie-in called Heavy Metal Fact 2. It's set sometime after the film, and it features cameo appearances of several characters. I watched Funhouse, the YouTube channel, play it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it has to do with heavy metal. I don't know what it has to do with the movie or any of that shit. It's garbage. The movie, the Heavy Metal 2000 is fucking garbage. It is. I feel like you can track the decline of Western civilization from heavy metal to Heavy Metal 2000 to David Fincher's follow-up, which we'll get to in a second. But real quick, I just need to talk about the soundtracks between the first Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000.
Okay.
So the home video of Heavy Metal was removed from circulation for several years because of problems with music licensing, which makes sense. They have
a shock.
Major bands on and stuff. So many bands on artists on soundtracks, securing his right to the music proved difficult. Check it out. Movie's called Heavy Metal. There's not going to be very much metal on it, especially for 1981. Or not. I mean, despite.
I'm pretty sure Stevie Nicks on the soundtrack. So
yes, despite 1981. I mean, 1981 is all right. So thrash metal hasn't broken through yet. The metal period that everyone's really familiar with is still like a couple years away. But Judas Priest exists already. Okay. And here's the fucking soundtrack for Heavy Metal. Sammy Hagar. Riggs. No idea who Riggs is. Devo. Not metal.
Devo?
Devo's wonderful, but they're not metal. Blue Oyster Cult. Not metal.
Oh, Blue Oyster, huh?
Cheap Trick. Not metal. Don Felder. No idea. Donald Fagen. No idea. Nazareth, metal. All right, you got one. Riggs shows up again. Don't know. Journey, not metal. Grand Funk Railroad, fucking amazing.
Oh my god.
Not metal.
Railroad.
Cheap Trick, not metal. Finally.
Garbage.
Yeah. Finally, Black Sabbath, metal. The originators of the metal. Fucking finally they show up. They got Black Sabbath on there. I guess it's metal. Don Felder, don't know. Trust, don't know. Stevie Nicks, absolutely wonderful. Love Stevie Nicks. Fleetwood Mac's amazing. Stevie Nicks has never done anything wrong in her entire life.
She's goddamn witch, Kyle. You don't say anything wrong about her.
That's right. I stand the shit out of her witch powers. Wonderful, amazing, beautiful, most sexually powerful woman I've ever seen, Stevie Nicks. But not quite metal. But as bad as that soundtrack list is, are you ready for Heavy Metal 2000?
I just gotta say that I was listening to Dreams this morning. It was amazing.
All right,
go ahead.
So we got Monster Magnet. Remember Monster Magnet?
Oh my god.
We got MDF MK, which is KMFDM backwards. That's fine. I like KMFDM. Pantera.
You can go on, but you should feel bad about it.
No, KMFDM is a cool industrial, like super left wing bang. We got Pantera on here. Pantera would have been a great choice for the original Heavy Metal, not for Heavy Metal 2000. But cool, it's still a metal.
I don't know. 81 might have been a little early for Pantera, right?
Yeah, it might have been actually. So. Yeah. We got a band called Zilch. No idea, but they sound like 2000s butt rock. Followed up by Insane Clown Posse and Twisted.
Oh, those are both metal. ICP and Twisted? Hell yeah.
No hate to the Juggalos or whatever, but like, you guys aren't metal. Like, fucking step off.
I couldn't believe it. Like, you heard this like yesterday or the day before. They're like, yeah, we're not going to hold the gathering this year because we don't want to risk even one single Juggalo wife.
Hell yeah, man. Juggalo, fucking ICP and Juggalos know what's up.
My God.
They're real motherfuckers, man. They're real homies. I'm down with them. It's cool. They accepted Danny Brown when he's playing out there. Like, yeah, I feel you, man. You're from Detroit. What's good? Like, if they accept Danny Brown, they accept me. I'm friends with them.
When fucking Shaggy 2 Dope is more in touch than the fucking president of the United States.
Why wouldn't that make sense? Shaggy T Dope has lived a real life. Donald Trump has been like,
I gotta be honest with you, Shaggy T Dope has not lived a real life for a long time.
well, I mean, not for a while, but he did like the first 20 years of his life, probably. Followed that we got System
Also,
of a Down.
I'm not gonna give them a pass for the goddamn Miracles views in the music video. They should feel fucking bad about that shit.
Well, yeah, they can feel. I'm not giving.
I'm surprised
because
I'm surprised they believe in vaccines and shit.
well, that's the thing is, I'm trying to take the PMA aspect of New York hardcore, just the positive mental attitude, where you can bring people along.
No, man,
but like, I'm not trying to hate on ICP for like not understanding that shit. It's just like, no, don't make a song about it. Like, ask someone, right? Like, how do magnets work? No, ask somebody. Don't make a song. Ask somebody.
I can't trust those scientists. I always be lying and shit.
Some of them do about like for money concerning.
Yeah, but
reasons.
it's such a small percentage. Most of them are like, climate change is real. We should do some shit about this.
They all work for Monsanto.
For the climate change scientists?
No, the guys that lie.
Oh.
I mean, yeah. So after ICP, we got System of a Down, which fucking love System of a Down.
Not really metal though. I mean, definitely more metal than ICP.
Crossover thrash, but they're like pretty punk. But thrash is punk, hardcore punk, and metal. So, and the song they have on there, I don't remember what it is, but it's not very good. They got some band called Days of the New. Don't remember what that is.
Oh, that sounds familiar, but I don't know if I actually know what.
They got a band called Sinistar. It's got so many S's in it. I don't know what that is. Queens of the Stone Age.
No.
I like that one song, Go With the Flow. They're like first single. I can go with the flow. But mostly Queens of the Stone Age is cool because Eagles is death metal. All right, next we got Machine. Next we got Machine Head, which I think is Gavin Rosdale's band or something. I don't know what the fuck that shit is. Full Devil Jacket, no idea. Hate Department, no idea. Puya, no idea. Apartment 26, no idea. Then we got Billy Idol. Billy Idol's a voice actor in it too.
I fucking love Billy Idol.
He was trying to come. I think he was trying to make a comeback with this shit. If you watch the movie, more. Aside from like the animation looking like the cheapest, most trash Warner Brothers shit, the musical company in it and how they try to work it, they don't even bother to try to work it into the film. It's just like, oh, and then this sound happens. So here's a song now. But in addition to the animation being terrible, the story not making sense, everyone like fucking phoning in voice acting, blah 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 blah. They're just like, oh, put a song here, put a song there. Why not? Yeah. And then finally, to finish it up, we have a song from Cold Chamber. Remember, Cold Chamber is like every like mall goth's favorite band. And then out of nowhere, Bauhaus.
Oh, I'm hip. I listen to the Bauhaus.
Yeah, there's a Bauhaus song. We were talking
not
about
really metal either.
No, we were talking about the Damned earlier. They got much more in common with the Bauhaus than heavy metal. Weird. So, the Heavy Metal 2000 also did not accomplish the metal aspect. But luckily, in March 2008, Variety reported that Paramount Pictures was set to make another animated film with David Fincher spearheading the project. Ooh, exciting, right?
I'm excited.
And then according to IGN, they announced on July 14th, 2008, David Fincher's edgy new project has suffered a serious setback.
Oh, no.
It was dropped by Paramount. Oh, no.
What happened?
Because it's about, like, titty fucking cartoons. In September 2008, Eastman was quoted as saying, Fincher's directing one. Guillermo del Toro is directing one. Zack Snyder wants to direct one. And Gore Verbinski wants to direct one. That's like pretty all-star sort of cast, right? I mean, the Ring remake is pretty good. Pirates of the Caribbean, And also Zack Snyder too. It's like, Dawn of the Dead was cool for like 15 minutes.
I mean, the 300 is okay-ish.
Yeah, but like every movie he made, when you look back, you go back and watch them, you're just like, oh, this is like 17-year-old like titty boy.
It really only worked for 300.
Yeah. It was reported at the time that the film had been moved to Sony Division, Columbia Pictures, which had to release the original. Had a budget of $50 million. $50 million. It's pretty good for an animated movie in 2008. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, in 2000, obviously, 12 years ago, that's probably fine.
Yeah, but luckily in June 2009, Kevin Eastman said, "I've got breaking news that Fincher and James Cameron are going to be co-executive producers on the film. Cameron's going to direct one. James Cameron. Can you believe it?
He's had nothing but a string of successes since Avatar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit.
How'd that Terminator movie go?
Oh, production then stalled indefinitely.
Yeah.
As no film distributor production company had shown interest in distributing or producing the remake since Paramount Pictures decided to forgo being the film's distributor. Paramount purportedly thought such a film was too risque for mainstream audiences. In July 2011, filmmaker Robert Rodriguez... We're getting like an all-star cast of directors and filmmakers for this
You
shit.
can tell this is one of those movies that all these weird fucking directors love.
Let's see, everyone. This is everyone who wants to remake Akira.
Taika Waititi, what you up to? You gonna make a heavy metal movie?
Yeah. Robert Rodriguez announced at Comic-Con in 2011 that he had purchased the film rights to Heavy Metal and planned to develop a new animated film at the new Quick Draw Studios, which is his animation studios. And then
didn't he actually put out a show?
Well, he did the From Dusk Till Dawn TV show.
I thought he had put out an animated show.
Oh, he might have, but it wasn't Heavy Metal.
It wasn't Heavy Metal, though. Yeah, Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh, we're going to get to that in a second. Hold on.
Wasn't that Robert Rodriguez?
No, that's David Fincher shit. We'll have to cut this out because you ruined the surprise.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All right,
I'm shocked.
On March 11, 2014, with the formation of the very own television network, El Rey, this is Robert Rodriguez streaming service or whatever, he considered switching gears and bringing a Heavy Metal remake to TV. Interesting. But who knows what's going on with that? That's lost to the sands of times. Maybe he'll do something. However, on March 15th, 2019, the Fincher reboot, in heavy air quotes, was released on Netflix as a reimagining titled Love, Death, and Robots. According to Miller, after the release of Deadpool, Fincher called Miller saying, "Okay, so we're going to use your newfound popularity to get our anthology movie made." Only to eventually decide, fuck the movie stuff, let's just take it to Netflix because they'll let us do whatever we want.
Is that true? Can we get a deal with Netflix? I want to do whatever I want.
I mean, you can show like dicks and stuff on Netflix, you know what I mean? So they were right in that capacity. Like, yeah, you can visually kind of show whatever. So I am such an amazing podcast host, and I'm always looking for new avenues to add quality and content to our episodes. So this week I watched Heavy Metal 2000, and I watched all of Love, Death, and Robots.
From what I just gathered by reading the Wikipedia episode, they're only 20 minutes long, so that wasn't much of a commitment.
There's like 18 episodes, and they are varying lengths. But yeah, not all of them are around 20 minutes. Yeah, so here's what I'll say. Heavy Metal original, very juvenile, shitty piece of shit, 80s art. I love the trash elements of it. I love the actual physical art style of it. Love hand-drawn animation. Love the primary color use. Love the experimental cost-cutting use of animation. There's a real attitude and flair and personality and texture and culture to the original heavy metal. It's philosophically, story-wise, not a very good movie. But if you want to watch a weird animated movie that really encapsulates like some power, some jest, something, it's Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal 2000. Throw that shit in some like fucking incinerator, or throw that into a recycling bin. That needs to be a recycling bin on someone's like fucking desktop in 1999. Should have never been a movie. Nothing about it is alive. There's no personality to it. It's the blandest, most terrible shit you've ever seen. It's just god awful.
No, tell us how you really feel.
And then Love, Death, and Robots. It's not heavy metal. You watch heavy metal, it looks like a comic book, right? It's got that 80s, like, shitty English boy, like, punk mentality, right? Like, Ozzy Osbourne could have, like, narrated the movie. You know what I mean? There's something to it where it's very 80s. It's very in-your-face, like, simple, like, 80s shit. Love, Death, and Robots, it suffers from everything made in, like, the last decade or so, where everything is trying to be too cute, too clever. Doesn't actually have anything to say. There's the few hand-drawn animated segments they have are pretty good, but a lot of it looks like video game cutscenes. I don't know why you would do CG animation just to make things look like real life. Real life already exists. It can be filmed. Why would you recreate that in animation? Does not make sense to me.
You fool.
Why? Why would you do it? If it can be filmed in live action with real people, why would you animate it?
I don't. Wait, what a stupid question.
But that said, there is some good shit in Love, Death, and Robots. Check it out. It's not heavy metal though. It's not pulpy comic book shit. It's not the same. For better or for worse. Not saying one's better than the other, because there's major problems with heavy metal. But heavy metal is what it is. It's the most real trash, indulgent, exciting, bullshit 80s shit you can experience. Space Dandy, the director who made Cowboy Bebop, made not a follow-up series, but his follow-up series in the mid-2000s called Space Dandy. Very similar aesthetic, where it's just the mess of the 80s extrapolated into space. That's an interesting concept. Heavy metal executes that very well. Heavy Metal 2000, no personality. Love, Death, and Robots. Too close.
Different, it sounds like.
Too close to my reality, where everything is irony poisoned and post-sincerity, and you know what I mean? Everything's just trying to be as clever as like fucking Parks and Rec or whatever. It's just the lowest common denominator. Like, we took it 2 steps beyond characters caring about each other. You know what I mean? There's honestly some good shit in there, and it crosses over different ways. Like, there's some good shit in there that looks like a video game cutscene. So I don't like the animation in it specifically because it looks like a video game cutscene, but it's a good story. And there's stuff in there where it's like, I really like the animation, and the story's trash. But there's going to be a second season apparently, so enough people like it. I don't know. People don't have the same taste I do. My taste is just...
yeah, I feel like at this point in your life, you should realize that most people just don't think the same way you do.
What it is, most people don't think.
Ouch, Kyle.
End of sentence.
Period.
Got him.
2, and, actually, exclamation point. 2 exclamation points. A number 1, and then another exclamation point.
We've been recording forever. Oh my god.
2 hours at this point. I'm gonna kill you.
What the fuck? How is this episode gonna work?
I don't know. You're the one that said it. It's not my
Oh
problem.
my god. I'm Kyle. I'm drunk. I have opinions. Fuck you, is VHS Cult.
We don't do intros.
We do extras. Next week we're watching Predator.
Oh, Arnold. Oh, yes, I Predator in the woods.
It's a big deal. We should have done it like a week or two ago, so it would coincide with the new Predator game that came out like yesterday. But whatever, I don't plan for that shit. I just live my life. I just live my predatory life as a predator.
Yeah, I'm not here to promote Predator video games. Or are we trying to promote ourselves on the back of the Predator video game?
I don't know. We could do all sorts of things. We could do. Who knows? Who could stop us?
Apparently, just life, the world in general.
Well, that's always what gets you. But you just gotta live in your own reality. Yeah, I'm out here lonely.
I've tried.
Papi chulo. Oh yeah, I know. Right? Well, it's worse for you because you have people that rely on you.
Bullshit.
I just go die in a ditch. No one can stop me.
VHS KvLT.